Grand Prix. Bad reaction there from Billy Thompson. Is going to get jumped by one of his rivals. I believe that's the Williams of Blitzkrieg, already pressurizing him. J. Cole already passed him as well. As we head into turn 1, Shadow and Lehman. RP1 and P2. The Renault takes the inside line. It's going to be a drag race now. It's going to be a battle of traction. Lehman does get away with it. Let's see, last time that Lehman was battling with someone for the lead in the opening laps, the top 2 ended up in the grass at Luffield, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see how it goes. There's a couple open. There's Ray is out. So at least I got that prediction correct. Ray was out as well last time Lehman was in the top 2. So history repeats itself, and Bird is down to 20th place. So disastrous start of the race for the Mercedes, as Lehman still leads the race. Shadow P2, Cruisix P3, Curly P4, and then Inator closes the top 5. What do you see, Jess?
Well, I can't see Bird on my standings at the moment, so I can't see him at the moment. So you'll have to tell me where he is in the future, because at the moment he's P20, but I can't see him, or P80. I don't know, but we'll see anyway.
I think he disconnected.
Oh, did he? Oh, right. It's Corporal Carrot's out as well.
Ooh, Corporal Carrot's out. Yes, binned it out of turn number 11. And there's a virtual safety car in place. Maybe some brave soul is going to take it to the intermediates. Don't know. I'm actually have a great camera angle to figure that one out. Yep, Cruisix is.
Well, that's
Let's
brave.
see.
So I don't know. I think it's not wet enough for instance yet, but...
No, it's hard. He's going for hards. He's going to try to take it to the end.
It's going to stay like this, because if it is, it's going to be really hard for the drivers. I've never seen something like this.
Yeah, Gilbo Vand is also on the hard. Cisco is on the intermediates, and now is either at a masterpiece of a strategic choice, or is going from bad to worse. Because, of course, the hards theoretically could be the better choice, as I was explaining. I don't know if you heard, as we have green flag racing again, but yeah, I don't know if you were here to listen, but the softs work better in higher temperatures. So if it's raining, the track is colder, as Zandinator has a bit of a sideways moment there. J. Cole almost collected him. But yeah, the colder the conditions, the harder tires work better, at least in theory. I don't know how well that is replicated in this game, but ooh, there's someone going way off. That's Sky Bashimi. Blitzkrieg also going off, and Ace of Spades is going to try to pick up any pieces. He cannot. He backs out. Blitzkrieg gets deep into the corner. He overcooks his brakes, and the Ferrari is going to come back at him. It was a bit of a squeeze, maybe a bit rude there from the German driver of the Williams. Ace of Spades can't capitalize on the mistake from the German driver there.
Nope, he can't, and he's still on those soft tyres, don't forget, soft tyres on a wet track do not mix at the moment, and it is starting to dry up just a little bit, but we'll see anyway, as we're seeing Black Panther taking advantage. Blitzkrieg, he's going to try again on Kybachine to see if he could not make the same mistake again, and this time he got the move done, and he's up into P6. Though he's gone wide a little bit there. Kai's now going to capitalise, and so is Ace of Spades. Is Ace of Spades going to get past Blitzkrieg as well? Yes, he is. So, yeah, the Williams driver were able to get past Kai in the first instance, but not able to stick with it.
Exactly, we do have, and yeah, we are having some sets of yellow flags. I think that's Cisco. Yeah, Cisco is awfully struggling.
Yeah, I was riding on board with him just for a moment, and you can see he was weaving all over the place. He was struggling a little bit there, so he's probably going to go on the hards, which I can't tell what tyre he's going on to. No, he's going on softs.
He's going on softs, yeah.
The thing is, I haven't been told if the rain's going to get any harder or if it's going to stay like this.
Yeah, exactly. That's the worst thing about it. Maybe... I mean, it might just rain like this through the entirety of the race and still be dry conditions on the track itself. So, yeah, it's going to be very hard for these drivers. Of course, they do have the information. We don't, unfortunately, as we have yellow flags to Sector 2 and 3. So maybe that was Cisco again, getting caught out by a mistake of his own. As we have another battle up ahead, I believe. Curly is getting awfully close to Shadow, as Lehman has already pulled away 2 seconds from them.
Yes, Lehman in the Williams doing a very good job. Don't forget that he's pulled off some great performances, and usually he's very strong in the wet, and he's showing that today. But Curly is another person who likes the wet as well, and he doesn't. It looks like that he's on a dry track. Curly is. He is not struggling at all. He's putting the pressure on Shadow, and he's matching him pace after pace. And when it's raining in Hungary with dry tyres, it's hard. And Curly's doing brilliantly. He's going to show how good he is. And we've got the McLaren of Aidinator not that far behind as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jess, I gotta remind you because we both forgot. How is it going in terms of the award, the
Supercharge, yes.
the supercharge?
I forgot a few times actually in the leagues I did last week, because I'm an idiot. But anyway, the person that's gained the most so far is Joint at the moment, between Ace of Spades and Entity with 6. So I'm just going to give it one more lap, and if there's no other gain positions, then I will just give it jointly. But I'll give it a few more laps and see what happens.
Okay, in the meantime, there's a bit of argy-bargy there as Bailey Thompson kind of forces his way past Blitzkrieg. Iceman is going to be able to capitalize on that one as the DRS is going to be wide open at the back of the Alfa Romeo. Both Alfa Romeos, Blitzkrieg just completely swipes the front end of Iceman, who collects Bailey Thompson. Fortunately, the one of the Alfa Romeos came out of it unscathed, but Blitzkrieg, you can't be doing that. A misjudgment from him. Iceman had his front wing on the rear tires of the Williams, but the Williams still came across the track. Iceman, yeah, I don't think that's his fault there. Iceman had nothing he could have done. As Cully makes a mistake somewhere along the way, drops down a place to Endinator, and Kaibashimi is spun, coming out of turn number 4, I believe that is. And he's lost his front wing, and this is a kind of meta, because just a thing I'm going to say, he was commentating when I've done the exact same thing last weekend in another league. So now I'm commentating on him making the same mistake. So that is something else.
Karma. That's karma.
That is something else. Blitzkrieg keeps on dropping places. Now it's Ace of Spades getting past him, and Lormans is all over him at this point now, as the drivers are starting to struggle a little bit more than before, and some of them are actually going to the pits, Jess.
Yeah, they are at the moment, and I wonder what tyres they're going to go on to now. I think a few people might be going on to the hard tyres or might on the mediums, I don't know. We don't know about the strategy at this point due to the fact the rain is in the mix at the moment. So, we're seeing with Blitzkrieg, Blitz is on the inters.
Exactly.
I'm just going to see Ace of Spades on the mediums. Obviously, Kaibachini had to pit due to his front wing damage. And he's
going for the mediums.
well. So, is there another gamble for Blitz? Because it's not as raining as hard as it was, by the looks of things. But
yeah, I actually can't tell, to be honest.
no, it is really hard, but he is struggling a bit, I can tell. We'll see anyway. What I might do is I'll look at his lap times and see how next lap and see how is it compared to his his rivals on the hards and the mediums, and a bit slower, way slower than what we would expect. Then he would probably have made a similar mistake to what Cisco did earlier.
Yeah, Blitzkrieg is struggling a little bit. He's gonna have to go into the pits. Now, jumping back at the front, Lehman, 4 seconds away from Shadow, and he's going to the pits. Of course, started on the soft, so he's going to have to go on a new set of tires. He's going for the mediums, and actually, I really like the choice of some of the drivers outside of the top 10 that went for the mediums. Because if it becomes intermediates, they are all going to pit at the same time. If not, they are still in the chance of doing the one stop under a dry tires normal strategy, right? So it was a win and a not lose, at least, situation for both of them, depending on what would happen. Blitzkrieg is out of the session. I guess he collided with the wall, losing control of the car under the lack of grip of his intermediates, and Lehman is right back to action, goes around the outside of Jack Seffel. Beautiful maneuver there around the outside of turn number 4 and gets himself back up to P9, Jess.
Yep, he is doing well on the two-stop strategy, which could work, and perhaps he's probably going to hope that the rain gets worse towards the end of the race, and then he can go onto the inters and time that very well, because the mediums are quite fast at the moment, and he's already catching up to the Haas driver Renzi as well. He was on 6th, obviously been on those mediums for most of this race, as he gets past him as well. So yeah, he needs to try and get through traffic soon, but surely he won't have any problem with that. Curly still catching up to Aidenator. Oh, we got a freeway battle for the lead. This is going to get spicy.
Yeah, exactly. Now, of course, the Williams has backed out, so now these three have inherited the top 3 positions, and there you have the Aidenator having a go around the outside. Ooh, Curly almost collecting the rear of the McLaren, overcooking his brakes he did, and he's going to lose out a couple of car lanes. Aidenator, unfortunately for him, wasn't able to get the move done, and the number 66 is going to have to sit behind the 57 for the time being, as we have another bunch of drivers going into the pit.
So we have Black Panther, who is going on to the set of the medium tyres, and Iceman pitted earlier as well. Obviously, we mentioned the other guys that pitted earlier.
Yeah, it was J. Cole who pitted at the end of this lap as well.
Oh, right. Yeah, he's gone onto the hards, interestingly enough, now.
Yeah. Well, it is a choice. Those drivers who started on the softs, I was seeing in chat that softs to mediums is doable. It is not doable. The softs only last 8 laps. The mediums last about 15. So that's 23 laps, not 35, right? So you have to do a 2-stop. Unless you might be able to go from softs to hards, because the hards really last a very long time.
Curly has lost it, I think, in the start of sector 3, and he almost.
Yep.
I don't know how he lost it a little bit there, but he's just losing so much grip, and I think he's been on those softs for a bit longer than we thought, and due to the fact it's raining, softs don't last as long in the rain as it is in the dry. So yes, he's going into the pits right now.
Yeah, exactly. First off, the tires are not really on their most optimal temperature race, because the track is colder. The softs work with a bit of hotter conditions. As we have a battle, I couldn't quite check who that was into turn 1. I think it was Kruzix and Jax FO. Kruzix got past the Toro Rosso there, up to P4 he goes. The Entity also in P3 at the moment, but is he ghosted? Entity is ghosted as he dropped out. That's a shame. Yeah, he started from last place. He started last, he's up to P3. Oh my, he's disconnected. Wow, what bad luck from the Slovenian. But yeah, as I was saying, the softs don't work as well, because of course, first because of the temperature, and second because you have less grip, so the tires themselves have to work a bit harder to keep connected to the ground and providing grip to the car, right? So they do work a lot harder than what they're supposed to, so they drop out even faster, and apparently Curly overextended his stint, and he lost out coming out of turn number 11, the last corner of sector 2, the quick right-hander. He lost the rear there, so that's how he dropped places, and Black Panther might have just done the same. Oh no, it was actually in the chicane of turns 6 and 7, but unfortunately not smooth sailing for our debutee today, Jess.
No, it's not. And what a shame it is, because he was very looking forward to the start of this race. He was hoping he could pick up the pace a little bit, but it's only his first race. He may be new to league racing in general, so usually when people start in league races, they want to improve. They may not want to get good results straight away, as we've got Entity was in a battle, because obviously disconnected, but proves it's easy, gets past him. And we've got the two McLarens fighting as well, and Shadow potentially is gaining advantage of all this as he's pulling away from them. And we've got Jax FO joining in this as well. This Jack is doing not too bad on those soft tyres in this wet. He must be saving on those tyres. Surely, if I was him, I would be struggling on those tyres. But he seems to be all right. He's catching up a little bit, but obviously Jayco and Aidenator are on newer tyres. But I think Aidenator is doing much better than his teammate right now, as he's going to put the pressure on Shadow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, about Jax, I believe he started outside of the top 10, so he has brand new softs for starters, as opposed to the ones who started with softs in the top 10. At least these ones are brand new, as Entity is going to get further down the order. Ooh, a mistake there from Jax FO, so commentator's curse right there. At least he didn't put it in a wall. But yeah, as I was saying, JXFO is not using much ERS. He has a full battery, so he's not pushing much from the engine. He's not forcing the tires to withstand as much horsepower getting output from the engine, right? So, or the power unit. So it is making better work of these tires. Of course, eventually they have to give up anyways. It's lap 11, so it was a bit overdue, and he's coming to the pits.
Yep, he is. He's going on, what tire is it? I think he's going to go on to the, he's going on to the hards. So he's committed to the hard strategy. Oh, that is a gamble.
Yeah, it is. But, well, in the meantime, we've had Andy Natal drop out the position to Shadow. That's the difference between the mediums and the hard tires at the moment. Of course, Andy Natal does need to pit once again until the end of the race, so Shadow might just even not try to put up a battle to Andy Natal, because Shadow knows he's going to have to nurse those tires to the end, and Andy Natal knows he has to be fast to be able to compensate for the fact he's going to pit once again. Not Jay Curley, but I Curley came into the pits into a set of hards, which he's going to take into the end. He did lose a lot of time due to some of his mistakes. So let's see if he can still get something back. And while we were speaking a while ago, I've noticed there was a mistake from Blitzkrieg when he was on intermediates. Bailey Thompson, I don't know if there was a collision with both of them again, but Bailey Thompson dropped out a few positions. He went into the grass as he just went right now. And fortunately for him, well, within the bad luck, fortunately for him, he didn't just drop out. Nonetheless, he retires from the session anyways. I don't think you're supposed to do that. He might get quality ban, or at least a reprimand. But yeah, I can understand the frustration. Bailey Thompson hasn't been able to score a point since his debut at France. So yeah, very bad luck riddled season for the British driver of the Alfa Romeo team.
Yeah, what a shame from Bailey again. Like, he seems to be having bad luck at the moment, which is a bit of a shame. But we're just seeing battles going up everywhere at the moment. We've got battle for the points as well, as we've got Gelberband and Kai going for it. And also we've got Aiden up front. We've got Aiden and Cruisit battle for the podium position. We haven't seen much penalties. Oh no, we've lost another retirement. It's iCurly, I believe. Where did he lose it there? I'm just going to see if I can... Oh, no, I can't go on board with Cisco because he's a lap down. I don't know.
Yeah, it was sector 3, so I'm guessing once again he lost the car out of turn 14. Maybe his suspension is a bit too stiff as Gelbovan mounts the curb. The car didn't enjoy it one bit, and he had to do some counter-steering motions there multiple times as the car whiplashed on him. Virtual safety car is in place though, so that's going to save him a little bit of time.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I think he must be so lucky after that, because that's going to help him warm his tyres up a little bit. And
look at this. We have a few opportunistic pit stops.
We've got Aiden that's going in for hard tyres, but he's not going to lose that much time. But he's got the likes of the Ghost Entity and Ace of Spades as well. Is he going to go ahead of Ace of Spades, I wonder? I'm just going to see. Yes, he is. On fresher hards as well. So he's timed that quite well. We're just going to make it to the end. And, well, Kai's in the pits as well. I think he went a little too late there. He was hoping that was going to last until for quite a while. But I think he timed that late. Or maybe he was going to anyway. Maybe.
Yeah. He's going to replace his front wing, so he probably had damage.
Ah, right. So where did he get damage? I don't know, but I think we'll see anyway.
Yeah, he had a battle with Gilbavand right before that virtual safety car. Maybe he got connected. I didn't quite detect any carbon fiber pieces flying, but maybe I was just blind there for a moment, and Kaibashimi did in fact get damage as a result of possible contact with Gilbavand. They did have a bit of wheel banging, but I honestly didn't notice any contact within the carbon fiber bits of these F1 cars. But yeah, unfortunately, Kaibashimi is going to pit once again. He's going to take mediums. Not sure, actually, if those are going to take to the end, because no, they are. They last 15 laps, So yeah, he's going to be able to take them until the end of the race.
Yeah. So I think he's good. He's timed up. He's timed up. Even though he did have damage, he made the right decision to go into the pits when he did, because he'll have a fresh set of rubber and he'll know he'll get to the end anyway, fine, and he won't have to pit again unless he makes a mistake again, which we hope he doesn't. He has the pace to catch up to his rivals, but the Gelber Band can make the hards last until the end. And we got Iceman and Ace of Spades. Iceman just gets past Ace of Spades out of nowhere there. Nice move from him as he's up into 8th. The Iceman is doing what he does best, like Kimmy does, and overtakes quite nicely.
Yeah, exactly. He did have a good display in the changeable conditions at Silverstone. So let's see. It looks like he's comfortable in the rain. So even though we are not in exactly intermediate tire conditions, he's making his tires work because he gets a bit squirmy there out of turn number 10, I believe that is. Sky Bushimi is out. That's unfortunate.
Is that another? Is that? Did he? I don't think he retired himself, because obviously he went into the pits.
No, he went into a wall.
Set to 1.
Yeah, he probably lost out of turn 1 or into turn 4, but that would be sector 2. So I guess he lost it out of turn 1, put it in a wall.
Oh, yep, I see it. Oh, it's right in the middle of the track.
Oh, he is? I can't tell at the moment.
Well, yeah, he's right in the middle of the track between turn 2 and
oh, yeah, he is.
Turn 2, yeah.
Yeah, I got a glimpse of him. He just despawned, but I did get a glimpse of his crashed out Haas vehicle. Unfortunately, race over for Kaiboshimi, who was on a streak of top 10 finishes out of the last, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of the last 6 races, he finished in the top 10 in 10. He finished in the top 10 in 5 of them, and he had a 4-point finishes streak. So, yeah, that's very bad news for him and the Haas team as a whole, because Entity isn't able to capitalize on the good start he had.
And he's still disconnected as well.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's a double retirement for the Haas cars. Not a good day for Guta Steiner, I must say.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna have to, maybe if he went back to Australia spec cars for this race, maybe it would have been a different result, but it is what it is. Hopefully the drivers get the message that enough is enough.
Yeah, I hope so as well, but again, it is changeable conditions. I would find it difficult as well, as Gelberband is another casualty. Yellow flag is set to 2 and 3, so it could be any point there, and I think most people got past it. I'll see if I'm on board with Lehman now. I'm just going to see if I can catch a glimpse of Gelberband's car, but I doubt I can see it. So, oh, we got a yellow flag again. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I see it. That is...
Gelberband is out at the exit of turn 14. Wasn't no, not 14, but turn 11. So just like a few other drivers, Corporal Carrot, also iCurly, having a few issues through there. That's a very tough corner for the cars, because it demands a lot of the tires and the suspension. So if you are running a time trial setup, usually those setups are made for like getting the most amount of rotation. Right. Especially because you have the extra grip from the soft tires and the optimal conditions, right? You have the lightest car possible, so you can afford to run a harder suspension and anti-roll bars to help with the rotation of the car. So when you bring them to a race, even if it wasn't raining, just the fact that he has the fuel on board and you get the tire wear added into the mix, eventually either the suspension is too much for the tires to handle, or the tires themselves don't have the amount of grip that can get them through the corner, and they start complaining for sure.
Yeah, they do, and these guys have got to be a lot careful, especially when they get to the end as well. Well, with these tires as well. I think the gaps are starting to increase a little bit as they're trying to find a little bit more of their rhythm. There's still people that will have to pit again, such as the Ghosted Entity, and possibly I think Lehman will be pitting as well, as I think Ace of Spades gets past Entity. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And Iceman is on another charge on Norman's as well, so he can gain another position again. He's flying there today. I swear he must be involved in battles every single race.
Yeah, he is one of the drivers that he doesn't usually get the greatest qualifying performances, which does set him back a little bit, but he always comes through the races. He's gotten himself, just looking at his history, he's got himself 1, 2, 3, 4 top 5 finishes and a podium at Silverstone with a second place finish for him, which is his season best. His season worst is a 12th place finish at Spain, and it was the only time he finished the race outside of the top 10. He only has one retirement at Bahrain, so yeah, very consistent, very fast. Sometimes his lack of one lap performance, he just can't get it together when push comes to shove, and that sometimes doesn't allow him to get the results that he has shown that he deserves.
Yeah, and he's definitely showing what he deserves today. And even though he's on those older, harder tyres, he is acting like it's fresh, because Norman is struggling, and Iceman is going to try and capitalise it, but Norman shuts the door and says, "See you later. You're not having that position that easily." And I think Norman has been caught napping when he went off the track there, and he was. I think Iceman was hoping that he can capitalise that, but I think Norman woke up just the right time there, which he needed to anyway.
Yeah, well, XFL gets a 3-second time penalty, unfortunately, and I'm going to say, oh, Black Panther has a mistake! Black Panther spun into turn 5? No, this is after the chicane, so this is out of the chicane of turn 6 and 7. Maybe he mounted the curb on the exit, and the car just said, nope, the grass is wet, I'm not gonna get any traction whatsoever, and just sent the car into a spin. He had just overtaken the paranormal entity of that Haas. And Black Panther, unfortunately, does he have wing damage? Going to try and see. He does have wing damage quite hard. Yeah, right side of his front wing is badly damaged.
Yeah, I see it.
He's going to have to go to the pits. And I'm actually happy that Ace of Spades finally went into the pits, because with the amount of pit stops Cisco has done, I'm pretty sure he has borrowed a couple sets of tires from the other side of the garage. So let's see if Ace of Spades has a few of them for himself, as he's going to get himself the front wing changed, so a bit of some war scars on that front wing that he just replaced. Nonetheless, he's going on his merry way. Black Panther also pitted, so Ace of Spades can still maintain himself in a points-paying position.
Yep, he is, and the most important thing is these guys are not giving up as well. You only have more of a chance to get points than not get points. So Cisco is in 12th place, a lap down, but we might see the likes of, if that Black Panther continues to struggle, he might retire. And obviously Entity is disconnected as well, so Cisco, even though he's had a troubled start, he can still be on for a point. So, you know, that's why he's keeping going, because he knows a point is in sight today. And so is Ace of Spades as well, who's also in the points as well. So, just don't give up, just don't retire when it gets too hard, and yeah, Cisco is the proof of that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Entity is DNF'd, so everyone below him is promoted one position. Cisco is in 11th at the moment. Cisco could get himself his second point of the season. He has only scored a point once so far at China, and yeah, he might get himself his second point on the board. And of course, it's not much, but every bit helps, because we've seen in the history of Formula 1 championships decided even by half a point. So one point does go a long distance.
Yeah, especially with the fastest lap now, which will make or break a difference between winning and losing a championship. I'm glad they introduced it in the game as well. And speaking of fastest lap, at the moment, Lehman, who is currently our race leader, is leading the fastest lap battle. So at the moment, he's going to get an extra point compared to a leader 18 or 25 points, depending on where he comes out of the pits, compared to Shadow and Cruiseit, as I'm just seeing now. As they're crossing the line now, they're going to go ahead of him anyway, but Lehman is going to be on fresher tyres, so he's probably going to catch up to them very, very soon.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Cruiseit, though, Lehman is actually going to come out quite far ahead of Shadow. But Lehman, sorry, not Lehman, Cruiseit might get himself his second place finish of the season. That is his previous best. And yeah, it is his previous best. He achieved that one at a very accidented French Grand Prix, which is actually also in conditions like this. It was intermediate conditions, yes, but it was a full rainy race, if I'm not mistaken. So looks like when the skies don't shine, Cruiseit usually does.
Yeah, and he's not doing too bad. And like we said earlier on in the broadcast, he was one of those ones along with Iceman who really shined and was really my standout in the race, because I was able to defend and attack quite nicely, and they pretty much switched positions throughout the whole of the race, and gave us some nice entertainment, I must say. So we may see that again from Cruiseit, apart from that, but instead of Iceman, but with Lehman. So I'm guessing he's every time he's battling it is in a username that ends in men. There we go. Had to
Well,
there.
yeah, okay. Well, that is a coincidence for as much as it's worth. Lehman is currently 4 seconds away from him and is going to start a lap. He's actually going in a bit of pushy mode. Mode number 3 of ERS coming out of turn 1. Quite a risk, I would say, considering the slipperiness of the track at the moment. But he's going for it. He's going for another fast lap to try and put a nail in that coffin, or in that topic's coffin, and take home the full 26 points, which should be helpful to the groove-based squad, no doubt, especially since Blitzkrieg is not racing, or sorry, he's racing, but he has retired from the race. So we don't have both Williams drivers scoring today, and Lehman is going to try to make up for that as much as he can.
Yeah, I've been in one of those places where my teammate has retired and I had to pick up the pieces and try and score as many points as possible. And I usually find it hard, and I wonder how Lehman is thinking as well, trying to score some good points for his team. Because it's not just the Drivers' Championship they got to think about, it's the Constructors as well. And I usually want to do well in the Constructors. I don't want to be last, I don't want to be there. I want to score as high as I can, and I think if Lehman wins, it will be a great confidence boost for him, and he's set another faster lap again, a 1:25.7. So he's improving lap after lap. So I'm surely he's gonna catch up to Cruiseit by the end of this race, who has been on those hard tyres for most of this race already.
Yeah, exactly. He pitted at the end of lap 2, it looks like, because he has 21 laps on those. So those must be screaming to get out of this car. But Cruiseit is not going to do them the favor they want, I guess. I guess he could even go for the softs, because he has a good enough lead on Shadow. Shadow is also on 14 lap hards. If he goes on the softs, it's going to be blistering fast at this point, or at that point, if he actually pulls through that strategy. So there's a window open for him, but I don't think he actually is going for that one. Now, taking a look further back, we have Black Panther closing in on Ace of Spades. He's going to get Slipstream and the DRS. Fortunately for the Ferrari driver, he also gets the DRS from the Ghost of Entity, and so is going to be able to delay that battle for a little bit. Both drivers are on the points, because of course Entity ahead of them is going to DNF, so they are both 9th and 10th at this point. Now let's see in which order they are going to come through the checkered flag. Of course, Black Panther does look like he has an advantage in ERS. He has a massive advantage. Ace of Spades is about 30%, Black Panther is about 90%. So in terms of the ERS side of things, Black Panther is able to be faster than Ace of Spades while not using as many resources or at least while not using as much from the hybrid side of his power unit. Of course, he might be using more fuel, but yeah, it's a solid enough debut from the Red Bull driver. What do you think?
Well, he's learning. He's had a trouble start, obviously, but he's able to just forget what happened and concentrate on the rest of this race, and that's exactly what he has done. And it's very important to think about that, as we were speaking earlier with Cisco as well. So he's in the point. He's going to get some good points if he keeps this up, which will be a very strong debut for him. I've seen people that have raced where it's really hard to get points on your debut, and if, to be honest, if you do get points on your debut race in a league, that is an achievement, and I think I can say that is what Black Panther is aiming for, and anything lower than that, he's going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I do also believe, just to add to your point, some might look at it and say, of course it was tricky situation, like a third of the field as DNF'd, but keeping yourself together in tough conditions is also a skill. So, at least I believe so. So, Black Panther is keeping himself composed where others have failed. Yes, Black Panther had his hiccups, but he managed to salvage his car, well, where the others just got terminal damage, right? So, either by sheer luck or not, he's managed to keep himself consistent. He has good pace. He's going to be pressurizing ninth place there as Lehman finally gets past Kruzix. I'm sorry, guys, I missed that one. I was actually thinking Black Panther would have overtaken Ace of Spades by now, but nonetheless, he's going to be putting on the pressure on the Ferrari as he's going to battle for ninth place. But yes, I was going to say, just to wrap up, it might be luck, but sometimes you also need a bit of luck to get things going your way. And Black Panther, again, not smooth sailing entirely, but he's done a solid enough job to finish in the points paying positions when other drivers who are theoretically faster haven't been able to get the job done.
And speaking of Black Panther, he's going to try and make a move this instant on Ace of Spades, and Ace of Spades closes the door entirely on them, but as long as the likes of Cisco doesn't get past me, he's going to be a lap down anyway, so no matter what, he's going to be fine anyway, as long as he doesn't crash out, but it is quite narrow, obviously, and Ace of Spades managed to pull away, so I wonder if Black Panther made a bit of a mistake, but I'm guessing he's not concentrating on right now. He's concentrating on just getting the cars for the end of the race, surely. But luck, driving in these wet conditions takes skill, obviously. So that is what he's doing. But I'll just give a quick rundown. I think whilst we were seeing that, Lehman actually got past Kruzix, I think, a few laps ago. So he's in the lead of the race, and with Shadow in P3. And Ace of Spades always got a penalty. I wonder if Black Panther's got any penalties. I will check at the...
Oh, he's out! Ace of Spades is out!
All right. Oh,
Ace of Spades is out.
That is a shame.
Yeah, I have no idea where it is. I'm going on board with Cisco trying to figure it out. So I guess...
turn 13.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, turn 13. So yeah, the second to last corner. That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate, but that does promote Black Panther to P9, and it does put Cisco up to P10. So Cisco is going to claim a point despite finishing a lap down, ladies and gentlemen, because of course Entity is disconnected and he hasn't done enough laps to be considered to complete enough laps to get the points to get the result, right? So yeah, it is going to be giving up one Ferrari out of the points, another Ferrari into the points. Black Panther didn't have to work as hard as he was probably predicting to climb up to a P9, but I would like to take your attention to a possible battle between the McLaren boys, Andy Nater and J. Cole. They've been very close to each other throughout the entirety of the season. For example, just to see you guys how close they've been, at Monaco and Canada, Andy Nater finished P4, J. Cole P5 in both Monaco and Canada. So yeah, those two have been, of course, sometimes they have more luck than some other times, but they've been very close in pace to each other. They've been very tight in their contest for leadership within the McLaren team, and they are coming to blows once again. I don't know as to what extent team orders might be coming to play, as J. Cole does have half of his ERS available, and Inator has exactly 100% coming into the right-hander there. So yeah, Andy Nater does have. He also has the fresher tires. J. Cole gets wide, and then it is going to say thank you very much. Gets moved down up to P4, and now J. Cole is going to become the hunter because, of course, he's going to be able to put the DRS and the slipstream, put the squeeze on Andy Nater. Andy Nater is going to be forced to use some of that ERS. He does have a big advantage for now, but if he has to use higher ERS modes to defend, that advantage might become a disadvantage very quickly.
Yeah, which is a bit of a shame if it does come to this, but I'm sure J. Cole would save when he can, and I think what Aiden has done to get past J. Cole was he had more ERS to play with, so he was able to go up really high and then go back very low again. He's on 94% still, whereas J. Cole is still on 54, so Aiden must be doing something right. They're far away from Shadow in the top three, but they're having their battle of their own, which is looking very impressive, but we'll see if J. Cole can pressurise Aidenator again, and we'll see if Aidenator can hold on to P4, which will still be very consistent for the McLaren team, just like in real life.
Yeah, it is quite reminiscent of the real life, especially for the places they usually finish in. Of course, one of them, I'm not sure actually who would be declared the Norris of this team. I would guess J. Cole, because J. Cole has more DNFs than Andy Nater. J. Cole has 2, Andy Nater has 1. They are actually so close to each other that when they DNF, both of them DNF. That was the season opener at the Australian Grand Prix. Both of them DNF'd, and of course, J. Cole DNF'd at Azerbaijan in a race that Andy Nater didn't show up for. So when they finish, both finish in the points. When one doesn't show up, the other can't get through. So it's quite a coincidence, but yeah, it has been true. Both drivers, whenever one finishes in the points, the other does the same. And once one retires, usually the other doesn't finish the race as well.
Don't jinx it, it's not the end yet. we've got 6 laps to go. Anything can happen. It is not over until the checker flag falls. All these drivers have got to do is bring it home and make sure they keep it clean, as well as battling, obviously. And we can start to see that Aidenator is having some much better straight line speed, and somehow he's catched up to Shadow. So has Shadow made a mistake or something?
I don't know. I think that's we being blind, because those 9 seconds are to Kruzix, not to the cars behind.
Oh, right. So we were blank in that situation. I thought it was. Right. So.
Yeah, I got deceived as well.
Yeah, I don't know why we were blind in that situation, but yeah, sorry about that. I bet you there's people in the chat going, "No, what are you talking about? Shadow is catching up."
Well, actually, we've had Bill point out. Sorry, we've had Bill point out in chat that looked like J. Cole let Andy Nater pass, so that Andy Nater could have a chance at going to Shadow. So maybe just a gentleman agreement within the McLaren team for much of the blood pressure relief in Zach Brown's circulation. So that's nice one for Zach there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that looking at the move that Aidenator pulled on J. Cole, it looks very easy. It looked like J. Cole let Aidenator through by the way that he positioned himself in the car. So yeah, I'm not really that surprised. They work well together anyway. They have a good relationship with each other. So if they're keen to sacrifice themselves in helping their team, then they would do it. So good on J. Cole for respecting his team, and they're still gonna get some good points anyway. So you know he's got nothing to lose. Iceman's 8 seconds down the road, So let's see what Adelaide can do in the last 3 or 4 laps then.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. Of course, Sandinator is maintaining himself within a second of Shadow. Shadow, in terms of his ERS, is feeling the pressure. Mode 4 of ERS straight out of turn 14. Sandinator is just on mode 3, even drops down to mode 1 as he approaches turn 1. He gets to Slipstream and the DRS, gets himself 6 tenths away from Shadow, and is going to put a big squeeze on the resources of the Renault. Our championship leader might not finish on the podium for the first time. Sorry, no, it would be the second race in a row that he doesn't finish in the podium, which has never happened. The only races where Shadow hasn't finished on the podium was the season opener at Australia, where he actually led. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm going to bring this up again for the millionth time. Shadow was leading for most of the race, then he lost out because it started raining and he got caught out by a lack of grip due to the wet surface. Out of turn 2, lost the rear, smacked himself into the wall, had to get a front wing replacement. A bit of a saving grace for him was that a safety car was deployed shortly after, so he was able to get the pack benched up, and he managed, with the softer, not the softer, but the fresher tires and the new front wing, he was able to get some overtakes done and get P6. But Shadow led most of that race. Unfortunately, couldn't come through with the podium. He got podium every race since until Germany, and might be the first time second race in a row where he doesn't finish in the podium. Let's see what Tendinator has to say about that, as he's going to pull around the outside of turn 1. There's contact, and Shadow goes for a spin. That's that's going to be spicy, as Shadow drops out to P5 behind the McLaren's Jess.
I think that is what I call commentator's curse right there. And that's our 4th or 5th virtual safety car.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of virtual safety cars, and Lawmans is taking advantage of it, and that's timed out very well for Lawmans, and it hasn't left yet. So yeah, he hasn't lost any positions. So
yeah, he barely lost any time.
No, he hasn't lost any time at all. That was perfect timing. DRS enabled just as he came out of the pit lane. So, but I don't think it's going to be enough to catch up to Iceman, because obviously he's way behind that, but he will have a chance to get fastest lap, and Cisco is taking advantage of that as well. But that means Adelaide can get a podium, and we could, instead of seeing a 4-5, we could see a 3-4, which will be even better, but it is at Shadow's expense, really.
Yeah, it is quite a shame. It looked to me like contact. Maybe Shadow overcooked his brakes and went into the back of the McLaren. I wasn't on board with any of them. But yeah, of course, that might go up to the stewards, and it's going to be their decision. We might have the top 3 decided in the backstage. So let's see how it goes. For now, Shadow is going to try to catch back up to J. Cole, and is back within the RS range of the McLaren driver there.
Yeah. I think he's roughly, Shadow is still catching, but I'm guessing it might be a bit too little too late to repair the damage, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame, but he needs to get in DRS range quickly. And Iceman's in the pits as well. He had a bit of damage. No, he hasn't. I think he's gone for some softs as well. And Lawman's has just gone ahead, but that's not going to lose that much time anyway. So we've got 2 more laps to go, and pretty much I think the only positions that are decided will pretty much be the top 2, as the top 2 are already flying compared to everybody else. Lehman 11.5 seconds, Krutic 8.7 seconds. So yeah, to the rest of the field. So wow.
Yeah, it has been dominating pace from Lehman, and Kruzik has just been, I don't know how he's managed to do this. 31 laps on the hards. I know the hards can last a very long time, but I've never tried myself, so I don't know how much he's struggling. I can only imagine he's struggling a lot. As I was saying, he probably got a little bit of a slight advantage for the fact that he's on the hards. The hards work best at lower temperatures, and since it's raining, the track must be quite cold. It's not raining enough for intermediate, so the track must be quite cold anyways. So that does help a little bit in terms of the tire wear, and the range of temperature within the tires work the best. So the hards were a very good choice for Kruzix. As you can see, just for me space, he's coming up to P2 and is only beaten by Lehman, who is just amazingly quick today, as Lormans gets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Iceman might be trying to do the same. And Jess, could you check the penalties from Lormans and Iceman? Because Iceman could have pitted because he knows, even if he gets overtaken by Lormans because of the undercut from the Dutch driver, the Alfa Romeo might still be able to come out ahead from penalties. I don't know if Iceman has any penalties. I know Lormans just picked up a 3-second time penalty at the end of the previous lap, so Iceman can still get P6 and the extra point for the fastest lap.
He has, well, he got three, I think it said 3 seconds on lap 5 for Iceman. I'm not sure if it's either a stop go or drive through, I don't know. But he did get a penalty on lap 32, so I think Lormans has less, but I'm gonna wait for the game to decide. It's hard to tell because it says 3 seconds on one of them, but I don't know if it's either a stop go or if it's just a normal 3-second penalty. I don't know. It's impossible to tell. We're on the final lap anyway, as Lehman is crossing sector 2 for the last time.
Yeah, he has had just a very, very good job. He got himself, he did get himself in a bit of that wet weather trap where he started on qualified on the softs, but most of his rivals did. So he was forced onto the two-stop strategy. Nonetheless, he just worked his way, qualified in P2, got the best of Shadow, getting off the line. So brilliantly done from Lehman, and then he just pulverized everyone and never looked back. And there you have it, going to navigate through turn 14 one last time. And there you have it, Lehman is going to cross over the line to take home the win of the Hungarian Grand Prix. The Polish is going to be in the top step of the podium for the first time this season. Every single time he finishes a race, it's in P5. And the other time that he's finished a race, he got himself P2 at Bahrain. But yeah, he only has, surprisingly enough, he only has 5 race finishes, counting with this one. So he got 5th at Australia, 2nd at Bahrain, 5th at Spain, a DNF at Canada, and 5th at Silverstone. Never showed up for the other races, and now he comes and takes the win.
That is impressive. He's been faultless from start to finish and is able to take advantage of people that were struggling on those wet track dry tyre challenge is what I would call today, and Lehman has done it perfectly. Frucci's done it perfectly as well. The two McLarens doing very well as well. And one thing we forgot to mention, I think we got Jack Safo right behind Black Panther, and Black Panther is going to get 4 points this race unless Black Panther has more penalties than Jack. We'll see. No, yeah, Black Panther gets his first points in ILR, and it's not just 1 point, it's not just 2 points, it is 4 points.
Yeah, exactly. Very good job from the Belgium driver, doing nicely in his first race. Of course, he didn't do that well during qualifying, so theoretically would have a harder time in other circumstances. But again, you have to deal what you have to play with what you are dealt, right? You have to play the hand you are dealt, and he did the best job he could have done. So a solid performance for the first time. And Cisco, since China, claims another point. I'm pretty sure he's happy with that. At least he's typing in caps lock in chat. So yeah, pretty sure he's excited about that one.
Yeah.
Now taking a look at the results. Jess, give us the rundown, and after that, let us know who surprised you in a positive way and a negative way on this race.
Well, I've got to say, the two McLarens, they've impressed me no end. They work together as a team, and it showed today, and that's why they're P3 and 4, and they're going to get the most points out of every team today. Well, possibly Williams, I don't know, because and Lehman doesn't get fastest lap, actually. It's Iceman, But let's go through the results. We've got Lee Mann who wins, Krutzik second, Aidenator third, J. Cole fourth, Shadow with his second non-podium in a row in fifth place, Normand in sixth, Iceman seventh, Black Panther eighth, Jack Zepho in ninth, and I've got to say, the two Hash cars, no points scored, which is I think the first time in a while actually, so it's going to be a shame for them. And Cisco, your last finishes, but everyone else from Entity down to Ray Ray has retired.
Yeah, exactly. It was a bit of shame, but yeah, it is the first time both Haas do not score any points since the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, where NTT DNF'd and Kaiboshimi wasn't able to join us for that race. So since round 4 of the championship, we are in round number 11. I believe this is 11 or 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I forgot to change that in the thumbnail because I'm a smart person. But yeah, round 12 of the championship, and since round 4, they've been scoring at least one of the cars ever since. So a bit of consistency there from the Haas was broken today, unfortunately. Yes, of course, that's just what happens sometimes when the conditions are this tricky. So I do believe this is the end of our broadcast. As any final words, Jess?
Well, I must say, it definitely threw a spanner in the works. We were expecting intermediate tyres at the start of the race, and I was kind of predicting a wet track dry tyre. I was pointing it out, and I wasn't expecting it to happen, and I think it took skill for these guys to do it like that, and some of them shone, some of them didn't, but we can't wait to see what happens next week. I believe we're in Spa next week in Belgium, and that's one of my favourite tracks on this game, race-wise. It's just a lot of fun to commentate and a lot of fun to drive as well.
Exactly. Well, this is it from today. Of course, always a pleasure commentating alongside you, Jess. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like button. If you did not, the dislike button is, as always, right beside it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. Hit the icon for any notifications of whenever we are about to start a live stream or to post a video. Hope to see you guys next time, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.